Today I'm recreating a map animation from Mission Impossible Fallout. The tools I'll be using in this tutorial include Adobe After Effects with a premium extension called GeoLayers 3. I'll also be using a handful of other free tools, including Felt. Speaking of which, next month I'm going to be working with Felt on their YouTube channel. So if you like what you see here, be sure to go over there and subscribe to their channel. I'm going to leave a link down in the video description. Alright, on to the tutorial. Now the map in the film has roughly 30 locations. So for my first step, I'm going to head over here to Google Bard. This is an AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT, and I'm going to type in, show me the top 30 most populated cities in the world, and show them to me in a spreadsheet list style format. And by the way, say don't include imagery because Google Bard likes to include imagery. Let's see what it shows us. Okay, so now I have this cool little spreadsheet here with a few different columns. We have rank, city, country. It even gave us the continent and then a population column. If you go to the bottom here, you're going to see a little button that says export to sheets. This is why I use Google Bard over ChatGPT. If I click on this, down here in the bottom left, you'll see that it's creating the spreadsheet and now I can launch it. Now, naturally, you're going to need a Google account to make this happen. I'm going to rename this top 30 cities, and I'll also come down here, top 30 cities. Now I'm going to download this as a CSV. Just go to File, Download CSV. The problem is this is not going to work inside of GeoLayers 3, and that is because you need a column for both latitude and longitude. So you need the coordinate information for GeoLayers to be able to plot it on the map. So if I come over here to this website called Felt, this is a very, very cool browser-based mapping tool. And if you don't know anything about it, I actually created a pretty in-depth tutorial on it just 2 weeks ago, so be sure to check out that video. But what this is going to allow me to do is I can quickly upload the CSV and it will automatically geocode it and plot all of these cities. So let me show you how easy this is. All I really need to do is grab the CSV that I downloaded and simply drag it and drop it directly over the map. It's going to give me two different options, elements or a data layer. I'm going to select data layer because it's going to retain that information that it's uploading. We're going to wait a little bit. It's going to take just a little bit of time here, not very long at all, for the geocoding. And there we go. Now you can see I can come over here and actually let's change the color of these just so you can more easily see them. Very, very cool. So now I have this down here as a layer, but I want to create this as an element because I can't directly export this. So I'm going to right click, go to actions and convert to elements. And there we go. Now we've got this element of all the different cities. I can right click on this and go to export GeoJson. Now I'm going to come over to Adobe After Effects. I've already set up my GeoLayers 3 map comp here. And in the GeoLayers 3 panel, I'm going to click on this little plus icon and go to import file. And now I'll go to this new GeoJson that I just exported out. And now you can see there I have all of my cities. Now with this feature collection selected, I'm going to click on this little button here. It says feature properties and I'm going to rename it. Call it Mission Impossible Map. And just be aware that if you close out the project and then reopen it later, you're going to lose this feature and you're going to have to re-import the GeoJson. If you want to avoid doing that, simply drag this and drop it into your favorite features. So if you look back at the original animation here, we have this desaturated basemap look. So to copy that look, I'm going to go to the Effects and Presets panel. I'm going to open up color correction, and then I'm going to go grab this effect called Lumetri color, and I'm going to drop that directly on my world map comp. I'm just going to make a simple, few tweaks here under basic correction. I'm going to take saturation, bring it down to 0. I will go to exposure, and I'm going to bring that down to maybe -2. And then for the black levels, take it to somewhere like 65, and that's going to give us a lower contrast look. That's a good start. Now, I don't want to animate the map for this project. I want to have my elements animating on screen and just keep this map stationary. And you can see all the different elements we have here. We have two main little icons here of a person and then the device next to it. And then from the device, you have all the lines animating out, connecting to the cities. Now, the best way to go about this is to do pretty much everything in the GeoLayers 3 panel because again, GeoLayers 3 is incredibly powerful and it has a bunch of features that are going to allow us to do this very, very quickly. First, I need to go grab these icons. So I need an icon of a person and an icon of a bomb. So I'm going to go over here to freepik.com and I'm just going to search nuke. And they have a bunch of options. I'm just going to scroll down here and this set is looking good. So I'm going to click on this. Now I can download this and use it for free. It's just important that I apply the proper attribution. So I'll click on download. Alrighty, so here's this graphic set opened up in Adobe Illustrator. I just want to use this particular graphic on the bottom left. So I'm going to go grab the group selection tool, and I'm just going to grab this one. And now I can go to File, Export Selection, and I can export this out as a PNG, and it'll have nice transparency. If you have Overlord, you can actually shoot this directly over to Adobe After Effects, and it will be brought in as a shape layer, and it'll have all the proper names for the layers. It's great. I'll leave a link to that in the video description if you want to go pick that up. Okay, so now I have these two icons. Here is this bomb graphic that I got from Freepik, and here is actually an icon of a person that I quickly generated in Midjourney. So I'm going to place these and kind of loosely frame them up, and in the sample, this bomb was about half the size of the person, so we're not really going for accuracy here. This is a little fantasy map. Now first we want to match the colors here to our base map. So for the nuke, I'm going to go grab effects and presets, and I'm going to search for something called tritone, and I'll drop this over, and that's gonna give me just these three colors, and I'm gonna switch the midtones to a 50% gray right here. There we go, that's matching the background nicely. And for this, I need to get rid of this background, and I just want to have a solid fill color for the person. For this, I'm going to search first for an extract feature, or an extract effect, drop it on there. I'm going to grab this with luminance, with the luminance channel selected. I'm just going to grab this and start to bring it back. So I'm clipping out, or I'm extracting that white level. Let me just solo this so you can see it on transparency here. Now, the problem with this is that you can still see kind of these nasty white edges, but that's okay because I'm going to be adding a fill effect after this. So I'm just cropping this way down, and then I'm going to grab the bottom here, which is the white softness, and I'm going to bring this up. That's going to make it a little less pixelated on the edges. And now I'm going to go and grab a fill effect and drop it. And it's important that I add this one second so that it puts it after my extract effect. And then with this one, we're going to do 50% gray again. And now turn off solo, full screen this, and now we've got this over here. So now I can just kind of loosely frame this up as well as the device. Now I want to frame up my base map. So I want to make sure, I'm going to go grab the GeoLayers 3 panel. I want to make sure that here in my map comp preview that all of the cities are available, but I still have the space down here to perfectly frame these. So I'm going to maybe move it over like this. Now the most complex part of this project is connecting all the cities to this device via these lines. And when I initially started the tutorial, I thought, I'm going to have to do this manually. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. But then I remember there's a few features in the GeoLayers 3 panel that are incredibly powerful. So let me show you how to do it. That is probably most definitely the best way to go about it. So if you grab the actual PNG of the bomb here, and you go over and click on the plus icon and select feature from layer, that's going to turn it into a map feature right here. So now no matter where I put the map, it's going to keep that feature here. But I've already framed up the map, and I've already framed up my icons as well. So the reason I add this as a feature layer is so now I can bring this into my feature collection. So now it just says nuke PNG. Actually, let me just go and delete the last little characters off here, apply. Now what I can do is grab the feature collection, and so now I've grabbed all these features, and I can go down here and say connect features. And at the very top we have straight line mesh. If I click on this, now it basically connects everything to everything. So we have this new feature mesh collection down here. If I open it up, you can see we have a collection of points and a collection of lines. If I open up lines, now you can see at the very beginning we have all of the cities connected to the nuke. So it goes down and it's basically connecting every feature to every other feature. And at the top here, we have all of these. So what I can do is just create another collection for these, just the nuke connected to the cities. So I'm going to shift click. There we go. We have all of these. Click on feature collection, and I'll call these Mission Impossible lines. For real, this is an insanely fast way to do this. And now I'm going to put that in my Mission Impossible map feature collection. And now I can just delete this feature mesh. So now we have this collection. Super, super, super cool. Now I'm going to go grab my layer styles and make sure that I have a path. I'm going to just create a new style here, and I'll call this line. I'm going to turn off the fill, turn on the stroke, and set the color to something like this, maybe a little bit Click apply, and then I'm going to set the width to 5 pixels. Click apply, and now go back up here and make sure that individual layers are selected, and I also want to have auto stroke width turned off. And you know what's probably a good idea is just to save out the map comp view as well, just in case I accidentally move the map and I want to get back to this position that's perfectly framed up. That's how I can do it here. Again, I'll add this to here, and you might even want to call this feature frame me up or whatever, just so you remember like what the heck is this map feature. So now we've got this. Let's create those lines. I'll grab the feature collection. Over here I've got my layer style ready. Now I can click draw features. Now in the animation you see a lot of these lines almost looks like they hard cut on, but I'm thinking they're actually having a path animation on over the course of like 1 second, so it's really fast. So I'm going to go down here and click draw features. I'm going to say animate feature path, and we'll do 1 second. And I'm going to make sure that my playhead is at the beginning here, create animation. Now it's going to draw out all of these paths. Okay, so 1 second was actually way too slow, so I sped this animation up. Now, for the next step, I want to create the little bomb blast animation. So as these lines reach the cities, they have a little animation. Simple stroke of a circle is expanding. So I'm going to use label templates to make this happen quickly. All I need to do is create a new composition here. I'll call it bomb blast. And I've set the width and height to 500 pixels. Now go grab the ellipse shape tool. I've set the stroke to a width of 2 pixels and this white color. I'm going to hold shift and double click to create a circle right here. And under the ellipse path, I'm going to set the size to 1, which is effectively going to give me just a dot here. And to animate this, I'm going to go click the add button. I'll add offset paths. And for amount, I'm going to animate this from 0. And then maybe the animation will go from 0 to 5 seconds maybe. And now we'll bring the amount out until it reaches the outer edge right here. And now I'll duplicate this like twice. Hit U to see all of these keyframes. And now I'm going to go and grab all the in keyframes, animation keyframe assistant, easy ease in. And now I can just offset these. And we'll get a little bit. Okay, that's looking good. Now to make this a label template, I go to the GeoLayers 3 items folder here, and I simply drag and drop the bomb blast composition into label templates. And now after I do that, if I go to the GeoLayers panel, you'll see that bomb blast is now here. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go and grab all of my cities here and click on label features, add labels. And this is going to take just a couple of seconds. All right, very, very cool. It's coming together, but these are way too big. So I'm going to go grab all of these labels, hit the S key to scale, and I'll bring these down by about half the size, bring them to like 50%. That's looking much better. Now I'm going to create a label template. So go add a new comp again, and we'll call this name. And for this one, we'll do width something like 1000. And then I'm going to grab the text tool. We'll just type out name. Grab this, and we want this to be left aligned. So under properties, go left aligned. Bring this down to maybe 75 or 50. And actually, I'm going to right click and add a new null object just so we make sure that this is in the very center. We'll rename this label anchor point. And then I can grab this and hold the control key, make sure that it snaps right there, maybe offset it ever so slightly so they will all be left aligned. And I'm going to change the width of the comp even more. So go to composition settings, and I'm going to make the width like 2500 just so that this doesn't ever end up, going off the side here. And I guess since now that I have my label anchor point, I should be able to bring it over here, and we should not have that problem at all actually. In fact, I can attach this to the label anchor point, and now I'm going to add a quick little drop shadow or something. So we'll go drop shadow. There we go, just make it stand out ever so slightly. Now bring this into your GeoLayers label templates folder, and now go back. Still have all of these selected. Just grab the name label template, bring the playhead to the beginning, and now we can go down and draw out these label templates, add labels. Now in an ideal situation, I'd want these to be more equally spread out, so I could go through here and edit this a little bit later, because with these cities, we're really heavy in India and China. We could probably add more to North America and Africa, maybe some cities in Australia as well. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually see if I can change the scale of these. So let's go scale, maybe try 65. And if you want to offset some of these, just come to the Effect Controls panel, and then you can do a little offset here. I can zoom in and just try to see. Let's bring the resolution up and see if these are looking okay. I might want to add like a simple dot, map marker to have the position of the actual label there. This is looking pretty good. Now I have a pretty tedious process of the animation, so I want them to animate on from the left going down to the right, basically top to bottom here. And there's 3 elements for each particular city. So now we have the line, we have the bomb blast label, and we have the city name label. So to quickly organize this, I'm going to go to the keyword search here. I'm going to type in this first one, Mexico City. Now you can see these 3 elements have come up here. I'm going to grab all 3, and then I'm going to X this out, and now I still have those selections, and now I can bring them up to the top here. So now I have them all together. And if I solo these 3, we can see what we have going on. I'm just going to zoom in here. You can see we have this. Now I want to quickly time this out and put the 2 labels down here. So now we have this. Now I'm going to quickly speed through this as I group these all together and just repeat this process for every particular city. And then I'm also going to basically stagger all these for the animation. All right, these are all timed out. So check out what we've got now. It's looking beautiful, looking great. I also brought the stroke width of the lines down, and I brought their opacity down to about 65, and I added a quick fade up transition for the names. Now I want to recreate this little text graphic element at the top, NEST, the Nuclear Emergency Support Team. So I'm just going to add some simple text here, and I'm going to put a rectangle around 1 and then use the text as an alpha mat and simply invert it so that I have just the rectangle with the text knocked out. And then I'll have the other text here in all caps. Put a blend mode of vivid light and then bring the opacity down to 50 or 75. And for this little arrow graphic, it's really simple. You just grab the pen tool and you make a little line here, a vertical line, and then you add a zigzag animator. Set the number of segments to 1 and then bring the size up, and then add a repeater and simply repeat the number of copies. And then to tighten everything up, I'm going to add 2 masks to the arrow here. I'm going to add 1 to subtract this middle section, and then I'm going to add another as an intersect mask to basically trim down the top and bottom of the arrows here. Boom! Now I know at the beginning I said I didn't want to have the map move, but I do want to have some kind of intro animation. I want to be focusing on these 2 graphics first, maybe have them centered up, and then have it reveal the wide map. So a really fast way that we can do that was we can use the map features that we created at the beginning. So right here, let's say we want the map to center up at around 2.5 seconds. I can add some keyframes here, and then I can come back over here, and then all I need to do is double click the nuke and it's going to center that up. And because I have these 2 graphics actually attached to the map, they're going to follow along. So both the nuke and the person icon, they are attached or parented to the map comp anchor, so they followed along. Now I don't want it to zoom in like this, so I can go down to the map comp here and look at all the keyframes, and all I need to do is delete this first initial zoom keyframe. In fact, I can delete all of these. So now it's just going to do a move like this. It's going to have this bomb centered up, and then it's going to fly over to here. So I'll grab these, and now I want it to kick in fast like that. And I also want the map to come up on screen a little bit later. So I'm going to add an opacity keyframe so that this background is just going to come in. So it'll just be the bomb first. And to get this a little more centered up, I can come over here and then just move it slightly to the left and then down a little, just to kind of get our person icon a little bit more centered up there. And here is the final animation. Really happy with how this came out. I could make these Mission Impossible maps all day long. They are so much fun. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you create something with this, do share a link with me or tag me on socials at Booneless Video. I would love to check it out. If you want to get the project files for this tutorial, head over to my Patreon page. Speaking of Patreon, a big shout out to my tier 3 patrons. Thank y'all so much for contributing and making this tutorial possible. So if you're a map nerd and you're watching this and you want to really benefit from this content, go check out my Patreon page, or you can go check out my GeoLayers 3 masterclass, which I put together earlier this year. There's a lot of cool content over there that you will enjoy. You can find links to everything down in the video description. Have a good one. See you next time.